Pro Football player Travis Kelce is pressed for time during the football season. So he does two things at once. Whether it's grilling while mowing.
Two things at once!
Or getting this season's updated COVID-19 shot at the same visit as his flu shot.
Two things at once.
You can be like Travis and ask your pharmacist about getting this season's COVID-19 shot at the same visit as your flu shot, if you're due for both, as recommended by the CDC. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, go to SelectQuote.com. SelectQuote.com. That's SelectQuote.com.
SelectQuote. We shop, you save. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials.
Educate, empower, enable, impact. Thank you for tuning in to That Will Never Work podcast, where we share inspiring information and personal experiences related to business and the entrepreneurial journey from those who are leaders in their respective field. Now, here's your host, author and business coach, Maurice.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for tuning in today. I appreciate you coming on and sharing with me. You know, we are starting a new year. And a lot of times when we come into our new year, we have the mindset of maybe learning a new skill or taking on a new job or something along those lines. Well, you know, for this year, for myself, I've decided to do a little something different. Instead of learning something new, instead of going to another place, I decided to stay home, if you will. And what I mean by that is I decided that for this year, I am going to become the master of whatever I am currently doing. So, as you all know that you have been listening and you have been sharing with me for over 4 seasons of That Will Never Work podcast. And I really, truly appreciate each and every one of you. We have been doing it for 4 years. So in this moment, in this opportunity, I have decided that I want to expand upon this skill that I have learned and that I've been trying to change and grow and mature, if you will. So how many of you out there today have taken something that for granted, that, hey, you know, you do it okay, is mediocre, is getting you by, but are you ready to take it to another level? I do believe that my podcast, being That Will Never Work podcast, can grow. Now, those of you who know, I do have 2 other ones, which is the No Fruit podcast and the Neighbors podcast. Now, I have really watched over the last 12 months how That Will Never Work podcast has grown. So imagine if I had given more time and energy to this podcast, where can it actually become before the end of the year? Now, my goal last year was to get to 1,500 downloads for the year. Well, here's the reality. I doubled that number. And part of that was because I was really diligent and on point about what I wanted to accomplish. My goals, if you listen last year, at one time they were just to get to 20, 25, 30 shows, right? I ended up at the new year on December 31st recording number 100. Now, let's understand, in that process, I did take days off. I had other life experiences and challenges and things that I had that needed my attention, right? So as you are moving through life and you're paying attention to what's going on and how things make you veer off track, how do you get back on that track and expand upon what you have already learned? Again, let's not take that skill for granted. Let's not take that experience for granted. Let's take that experience and find out where it can actually lead us to. It could be the next thing that will change technology, that will change a process and customer service, that will change the way you watch TV or use a remote or even your telephone. It could be the next great app. Who knows what the situation is if you keep going forward with your new skill, which is actually your old skill. One of the things that I had to revisit, not just with the podcast, but making sure that all of my websites were correct and concise and worded in a way that you understood what was going on and didn't seem flooded with just information and just like someone just regurgitated on it. So that is something else that I would like for you to even pay attention to, which is the information that you're putting out there. Is it a clear message? Is it a concise message where they know exactly what you're doing and what you're trying to accomplish? They have no question about. So number one was just rebuilding the skill that you already have, whether it's customer service, sales, management, whatever that skill might be, right? Number two is just making sure that your message is clear in whatever you're trying to put together. These are things that I am really have taken a moment to step back and say, hey, I can still improve on these skills or attributes or characteristics or attitudes, whatever it is that I needed to get done, perfected, quote unquote. No one is perfect, but how do you get close enough, right? That you feel great about, that turns the table, not just for you, but for the generation after you and generations long after you. Are you ready to turn the corner? Also, one of the other things that I've been really working on, and it kind of goes with communication, is interpersonal skills and understanding how that communication just with one-on-one, not just from a website perspective, but just communication in general. Am I expressing myself to individuals correctly? Am I, again, getting my message across? Are we creating an environment of it being safe and respectable? Things like that. I have put more emphasis in that for this year. One of the things that I don't want to be is misunderstood. And there have been moments where you can have that in life. It's not going to always be perfect. It's not going to always be a very clear message, conversation, whatever it is. Because it's a lot of things that plays in getting that message across. The topic, how you feel about it, how that person feels about it, your environment, are you actually not communicating in a way that they understand because of you're in a restaurant versus you living, talking about it in someone's living room. Two different environments, two different ways the people are feeling. And it could be the same conversation between the same two people, right? But because of the environment, it changes the situation. So let's understand that we're trying to be clear on our messaging. We want to be clear on what we have started, that appear that what we have accomplished, but can you go back and figure out that this, what you have accomplished, can be even more clear now that hindsight is always 20/20. I implore you, I encourage you to become a better version of yourself this year in more ways than one. So, this show today was to share a skill that you are learning, right? That was the idea. But instead of sharing a new skill that I am learning, I am trying to revisit old skills and correct my mistakes. Actively correct my mistakes. Again, it's not going to be 100% of the time. I will revert back. I'm human. But I encourage you to do something very similar. I thank you very much for listening, and we're going to be off to a great season. This podcast will continue to grow as long as I put forth more effort, more energy into it, and supporters like you. Thank you very much for listening, and listen out for the next episode.
Thanks for listening. Find us on social media at Chisholm Group LLC and check back weekly for new episodes. Until next time, that will never work, or will it?
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Lucky Land Casino, asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess?
Aha, in my dentist's office. More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.